Hello students, today we are going to do lesson 3 of civics, the Union Government of India. Union Government of India is also known as central government because it governs the whole country that consists of 28 union states and 9 union territories, and this collectively they are called the Republic of India. The seat of central government is in New Delhi, which is the capital of India. And the central government has three branches: legislature, executive, and judiciary. Legislature, or we also call it a parliament, it is a law making body. it, it holds a responsibility to frame the laws according to the guidelines which are provided in the constitution. The laws are made according to the guidelines which are provided in the constitution. Legislature is bicameral, that means it has two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha is called the lower house and Rajya Sabha is called the upper house. All the bills passed in the two houses of parliament are sent to the office of president for his approval, as you have done in 7th standard for state government, how the bills become a law, how the bill is passed in the houses of state assembly, Vidhan Sabha, Vidhan Parishad, then it goes to the governor at the state level. But at the central level, when the laws are made, then these bills are introduced in the two houses of legislature or parliament, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and then after that it is sent to the president for his approval, and when president gave his consent, then bills becomes a law. Then is executive. Executive is the branch of government which executes the laws made by the legislature. So the head of the executive branch of central government is president, and he exercises all his powers directly or indirectly through the officers who are subordinate to him. Subordinate to him means who are working under him. However, the president has to act on the advice of the Council of Ministers, which is headed by the Prime Minister, or you can say the president do his all his works with the advice of Prime Minister, who is the leader of the majority party in Lok Sabha, and Prime Minister has his council of ministers, or you can say a cabinet of ministers. So president has to act on the advice of council of ministers, who is which is headed by the Prime Minister. Vice President of India in the second highest ranking government official in the executive after president. So president is the head of the executive branch, and vice president is the second highest is on the second highest rank in the executive. Then is judiciary. Judiciary is the branch of government which upholds the laws, and in under this there are all the courts. Supreme Court is at the highest level, and 25 high courts, and others, so many other civil and criminal and family consumer courts at the district level. So all these courts, they come under the judiciary. Now, how is the president elected and what is the role of president? President is the head of the state and the first citizen of India, as well as a supreme commander of Indian Armed Forces. He lives in the Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. He is elected from a group of nominees by an electoral college. Now, an electoral college elects the president. Now, who are the members of electoral college? The members of the parliament. Which are the members of parliament? members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, as well as the members of the state assemblies. They are the members of electoral college, and this electoral college elects the president. I will explain you again. Electoral college consists of the members of elected members of parliament as well as the elected members of state assemblies. So they all together they form an electoral college, and this electoral college elects the president for a term of 5 years. Now what are the functions of the president? Now the whole executive power is given to the president according to the constitution by article 53(1). Now constitution gives president all the executive powers of central government. He appoints the prime minister, who is the person who most likely to command the support of the majority in the Lok Sabha, or you can say who is the head of the majority party in the Lok Sabha. So that person is elected as an appointed as a prime minister by the president. After that, the prime minister has to form a council of minister, or you can say cabinet of ministers. So that cabinet of minister is also appointed by the president, and then he also distributes the portfolios to them. Portfolios means duties. For example, prime minister has council of minister or cabinet of minister, in which there are so many ministers like finance minister, defense minister, education minister, health minister. So they all are given the distributed the duties by the president. Now, Council of Ministers remain in power at the pleasure of the President. It means that President can remove the Council of Ministers if he wants, but for that also there is certain condition. He can dismiss the Council of Ministers only if they don't have the support of Lok Sabha. If the Council of Ministers have the support of majority of support in the Lok Sabha, then president cannot remove the council of ministers. Now so many other appointments are also made by the president, like he appoints the governor of states, chief justice, other judges of Supreme Court and high courts, attorney general, president's officers, comptroller and auditor general, chief election commissioner and cabinet secretary, chairman and other members of the Union Public Service Commission, ambassadors and high commissioners to other countries. The other function, next function of president is that money bill cannot be introduced in the parliament without his or her consent. If the president will approve the bill, then only it can become a law. If the parliament is not in session, then president can issue ordinances. Ordinances means orders. President also receives the credentials of ambassadors. Credentials means you can say experiences of ambassadors and high commissioners from other countries. He is the commander-in-chief of the Indian Armed Forces. He can even grant a pardon or reduce the sentence of a convicted person. मीन्स वो किसी की सज़ा को कम कर सकता है या बिल्कुल ही माफ़ कर सकता है, particularly the cases which involve the punishment of death. Then there are certain emergency powers also with the president. The president can proclaim the state of emergency in any state on the suggestion of the Union Cabinet if he or she is convinced that there is a danger of any foreign aggression, in which cases president can declare emergency in any state. The cases if he feels that there is a danger from any foreign country, or insurgency means there is any internal revolt, civil war, breakdown of constitutional machinery, or a deadlock between ruling and other political parties. Deadlock means when the ruling party and other political parties do not agree to any issue. So is there is no, you can say, conclusion of their argument, they do not agree with each other, that is the case of deadlock. So in that case the president can declare emergency. Now, what are the limitations of the president? Now, president enjoys all the constitutional powers theoretically. In Article 53(1), there the powers of the presidents are mentioned there, and he can exercise his powers either directly or through his subordinate officers. However, with few exceptionals, some of the exceptions are there, but otherwise all the authorities which are given to the president practically are exercised by the prime minister and his council of ministers. What do you mean by that? That theoretically all the powers are given to the president, but practically most of the powers are exercised by the council of ministers and prime minister. President has to act in according to the advice which is given by the prime minister and his council of ministers. Now, what is a term of office for the president? Once the president is elected, he can remain in the office for 5 years. He can be re-elected for the second time also. Again means after 5 years, when again the elections are held, then in that also he can be re-elected. If he wished to resign from the office, he can also give the resignation letter to the vice president, and then vice president hands it over to the speaker of the Lok Sabha. And if there is an unfortunate death of the president in office, then vice president takes over the duties of the president, and but within 6 months the new president has to be elected. Now, there is a case study of K.R. Narayanan and APJ Abdul Kalam. K.R. Narayanan was the 10th president of India. He was the first Dalit to become the president. He was an independent president. He set certain examples in the constitutional office. How he set up examples? Because he refused to act in a passive manner of a rubber stamp president. Now, actually, what is there? The stamp of president is required for all the approvals in the government, but actually the decisions are made by the actual powers, or actual decision making is in the hands of the prime minister. So he refused to act as a passive manner. So he tried to use his own constitutional powers on various occasions. For example, while appointing the prime minister in a hung parliament during the election of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, he also did not agree to the suggestion of the Union Cabinet to dismiss the state government and impose president roles in the state of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Then APJ Abdul Kalam, he was the 11th president of India, and he was a professor and the chancellor of Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology. He was awarded the highest civilian honor, that is Bharat Ratna. He also took certain decisions which set an example, like he sent back the controversial bill according to which a person who was holding an office and he was having a scope to have profit, then he could not become the member of parliament. This was a controversial bill which was introduced, but APJ Abdul Kalam, he sent back that bill. But however, again this bill was sent without changing any clause. So in that case, APJ Abdul Kalam had to give his consent. Then Vice President. Vice President of India is the second highest ranking government official in the executive branch of Government of India after the President. Vice President is elected by direct vote of all the members, elected and nominated, of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The Vice President acts as President in the event of death, resignation, or removal of the President until a new President is chosen by the Electoral College for maximum 6 months. During this period, the Vice President shall not perform the duties of the office of the Chairman of Rajya Sabha. So by this we end up with the chapter. I hope everything is clear to you. Good day, students.